What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis, including your money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package, stimulus check update, everything you need to know about here on a daily basis. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on new videos that come out here every day on a daily basis. First up, the Fed is going to be raising interest rates here pretty dramatically. And the White House was just asked if the Fed is going to be, well, if the Fed is manufacturing a recession. Are they manufacturing a recession? And listen to what the White House has to say. A lot of people are questioning, is the White House even acknowledging what is going on with the recession here? And listen to their response here. This is White House economic advisor Jared Bernstein. Listen to his response here. Check this out.
I want to read from Senator Warren's op-ed today, Jared, because it speaks to me. Before the Federal Reserve triggers a recession, Mr. Powell should remember that the one medicine in the kit that he has doesn't treat the economic illness that we have. Low unemployment and high inflation are painful, but manufacturing a recession that puts millions of Americans out of work may not even work on high prices. So it seems weird that's what we're orchestrating. It's not a good way to do business.
So a lot to unpack there, as well as the conversation that Becky just had with Steve. I guess I would really object to this kind of semantic claim. I mean, the two of them just had a very substantive economic discussion that wasn't about semantics. It was about what's going on with key economic variables. The idea that 2 quarters of negative GDP growth is a technical definition of a recession is wrong. And I think one of the things we tried to point out in that blog is that the folks who actually make that call, the Business Cycle Dating Committee, they look at a set of variables, some of which, as Steve underscored, remain quite strong. Now, when you talk about gas prices, that's right. They're down 66 cents off their peaks, about 13%. And, that's a savings in aggregate of well over $200 million a day. I'm glad you're showing that map. In 8 of those states there in the South, gas is actually below $4 a gallon. I think it's around 30,000 gas stations, about a fifth of all stations. So, yes, prices are too elevated. By the way, they're not twice what they were before Putin's war. They were about 320 there. They're about around 4. What is it today? It's 436 today. So not twice, but definitely uncomfortably elevated still. We very much have more work to do in that space, Jared, but the trend is moving in the right direction.
Jared, it's just the catch-22 that we find ourselves in. And I was listening to Secretary Yellen rightly talking about how great the jobs market is right now, how low unemployment is right now. Consumers still seem to be doing okay. But if you're trying to orchestrate a demand slowdown, all those things make the Fed's job even harder and mean maybe they have to go even further. So I struggle with this. Is the economy in such a good place right now that we can withstand a series of interest rate hikes? Or is the economy in such good shape right now that it means we got to go much further to bring down the pricing pressure?
Well, that's exactly the right question. And I think the point out of the conversation that Becky and Steve had, which is very much the way we think about this, is that if you look at the first half of the year, it's very hard to make a recessionary call. The data just aren't consistent with a recession in the first half, including where we are right now. But what kind of visibility do we have looking forward around the next corner to answer your very, very well-framed question? I mean, those data come in with a lag, which is why the Business Cycle Dating Committee tells you you're in a recession well after it started, in many cases after it's over. But I do want to read you one thing, Joe, because this is very timely. It's from an earnings call. It speaks directly to your question. It's from an earnings call by J.P. Morgan last week, so very up to date. Quote, consumers are in good shape. They're spending money. They have more income. Jobs are plentiful. They're spending 10% more than last year, almost 30% more than pre-COVID. Businesses, you talk to them, they're in good shape, they're doing fine. We have never seen business credit better ever in our lifetimes. Now, that doesn't mean all bets are off regarding recession probabilities, but it does mean that the backdrop of a strong labor market, solid balance sheets, elevated consumer spending puts us in a good place relative to where we've often been in times of pressures like those we face right now.
Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here. Do you think the White House is a little bit out of touch there? They're trying to paint a picture of, everything's rosy, rainbows and sunshine. And it seems like most people don't think so. Most banks and analysts out there are saying that a recession is already here or right on the horizon. And the White House continues to say, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, Jared Bernstein, there, our White House economist, and basically all White House analysts coming from the White House continue to say, we don't know, we don't think we think we can avert a recession. So very different stories that we're hearing here. What do you think? It is basically mostly because of high inflation, which the last reading was 9.1%. We have seen gas prices come down, but it seems like that's it. It seems like that's the only thing that's come down. Um, it's tough here. It's tough. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Yeah, and this comes as the Fed is preparing another. Now, this headline here is pretty spot on. Mega sized rate hike, risking deeper economic downturn. So, if you think that we could avert a recession, the Fed's ratcheting it up. And honestly, it's because they kind of have to. They kind of have to fight inflation. To fight inflation. This is happening all around the world here. It's not just the Fed. Banks and central banks, Feds, and governments all around the world are doing this here as well. Canada just did about 2 weeks ago a full 100 basis point interest rate hike. It's most since 1998. So again, it's not like they've never done this before, but they did a full 1% or 100 basis point interest rate hike here in Canada. So they're doing the same thing here as well. We could do a 75 basis point interest rate hike or a 100 basis point. It wasn't that long ago they were talking about 50 basis points. Now they're talking, which would be a half a percent. Now they're talking about 75 basis points or 100 basis points. And don't forget that last month they did 75 basis points, which is 0.75% as well. Now they're going to do it again. This is how much they're raising interest rates here in the US. And they're doing this all around the world. Meanwhile, with the January 6th hearings and former President Donald Trump being in the news here a lot, he's been blasting kind of his own party here a lot. Just a few days ago, he slammed Republican leader of the Senate, Mitch McConnell, and called him, quote, a disloyal sleazebag after the January 6th committee aired a clip showing the senator blaming him for the Capitol riot. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that. But former President Donald Trump has kind of been blasting a lot of people in his own party, calling dozens of Republicans rhinos. And now he's calling Fox News, Fox and Friends. He says Fox and Friends has gone to the, quote, dark side. So, now he's slamming Fox. Here's what he has to say here. Former President Donald Trump tore into Fox News' flagship Monday morning program on Monday, lashing out at its host for their coverage of his polling results as he eyes another run for presidency in 2024. He says, quote, "At Fox and Friends just really botched my poll numbers." He says, "No doubt it's on purpose." Trump wrote in a post on Truth Social, the social networking platform he started after leaving office. He says, "That show has been terrible," saying the Fox News show. "It has gone to the dark side." They quickly wrote the big turning point poll victory of almost 60 points over the number 2 Republican, and then hammer me with outliers, talking about Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Trump was referencing the network's coverage of a new Turning Point USA poll released on Sunday that showed the former president well ahead of every other potential Republican primary challenger. But they said that, quote, "that is a little different than a couple other polls we've seen over the past couple of weeks." The Fox host Steve Doocy said, referencing other national polls, that has shown Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican, ahead of Trump in several age demographics. They said, quote, "So it's like the young people who are activists at that Turning Point event, like the former president, but looking at these other polls, there's a very different answer." Co-host Brian Kilmeade added, quote, "If you look state by state, Ron DeSantis is showing tremendous strength in New Hampshire, Michigan, and Florida." Trump, in his comments, blasted the network's Fox, referencing Rhino Paul Ryan, whom he called one of the weakest and worst speakers ever, and suggested the former congressman must be running the place. Now, remember here that, well, Ryan sits on the board of Fox News Corp. And remember that Paul Ryan was Speaker of the House of Representatives. He beat out Nancy Pelosi, and he was a Republican congressman here for 20 years. And he was Speaker of the House for 4 years. And until he retired, some people actually think he retired because of the controversy with former President Donald Trump when he was in office. But who knows? Who knows, right? But he was a Republican congressman for 20 years and Speaker of the House of Representatives, which is pretty much the highest office you can hold in the House. During his time as president, Trump routinely touted Fox and Friends, appearing on the morning program live via phone often and tweeting his thoughts on various segments. Yeah, let me know your thoughts here on this. This is coming as, Trump blasting his own Republican Party here a lot. And this is coming all over the place here. In fact, you can see here, he just blasted Arizona governor here. You can see this clip here. He actually got booed in Arizona. You can see this here.
Governor Doug Ducey.
And your Governor Doug Ducey has done absolutely nothing to help. Talk about rhinos. He's all talk and no action.
Yeah, this comes as recent pollings here show that majorities in new polls show that both current President Biden and former President Donald Trump should not run again. So there's a lot of people that think there should be new blood in there from both sides. From both sides. So we'll see. We'll see. Let me know your thoughts here. A lot of people think that in Congress as well, as Congress has an ultra low approval ratings. And again, we'll see here when the election comes, when voting comes. I've always seen a lot of talks about term limits. The problem with term limits is that Congress has to pass term limits. Yeah, they've actually tried to here recently. You can see this bill here. there has been some recent bills for term limits in Congress, but they haven't got enough support to pass. You can see here from this headline here, 2 in 3 Americans back term limits for the Supreme Court as well. That's one of the problems with the Supreme Court is that they stay in there for life or until they retire, which basically they don't retire until they're very old or they've served like 30, 40, 50 years in the Supreme Court, which is a lot longer than 4 or 8 years as a president. And, you know, same thing with Congress. They end up serving 30 or 40 years in Congress a lot of times. You can see this headline here. One thing voters agree on, fresh voices needed in politics. Yeah, so we are seeing a lot of agreement on this. But does it happen? Will it happen? On both sides? I don't know. We'll see. So I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. Make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. I'll bring you the truth of what's going on here from both sides. Republican, Democrat, independent, realist, just whatever's going on here in our country on a daily basis. So make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon after you subscribe so you get notifications of when we go live here with new videos. And I'll keep you up to date here. You can click here to see my newest stimulus check video. And you can click here to see my newest video on Social Security payments and Social Security raise of $2,400. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.